Let's talk about how to mount a Samba share on OpenBSD. The reason I have decided to create this video because of the fact that the available documentation about Samba sucks, and the third-party documentations on how to mount Samba shares on OpenBSD are pretty ancient and they are not functioning or working anymore. So let's begin there. By the way, I have decided to divide this video to two parts. The first part is about this documentation, and the second part, which would be probably in the middle of this video, would be about how to use this gvfs to mount Samba shares on OpenBSD and getting more practical. And as of now, gvfs is the best option, by the way, just a little bit of the spoiler alert. So there are multiple approaches to access to Samba shares on any Unix-like operating system, but these options are more limited on OpenBSD, obviously because of the security reason and also because some of those packages haven't been ported to the OpenBSD at all. The supported packages are as follows. The first one is actually Samba client. This one is the official Samba client. If you install the Samba package, you get this Samba client for free. It works most of the time or all the time, but it has actually two major drawbacks in my opinion. The first one is that it gives you a very weird built-in environment similar to FTP command if you ever used it, and this actually limits your ability to pipe commands or to chain commands. It's a very weird environment anyway. The second thing, which is a bigger drawback, is that you cannot actually open any files. You have to first download that file into your local and then afterwards open it, and this actually makes the process of using Samba very painful, obviously, and it's very unintuitive. There is another option, USMB. This one doesn't have those drawbacks of the Samba client, but the package latest update was in 2013, which is almost 10 years ago, and also the configuration is done with XML. Is a pain in the neck to do it, because also if you get the the file permission wrong, then nothing will work. And since it's very old, possibly is very unsecure as well, and it has a bunch of bugs that nobody is going to bother to fix. And on top of it, I foresee that this package would be removed sooner or later from the ports, so it's not the very long-term solution or investment for this Samba stuff. There is Fuse or SSHFS. This is not exactly related to Samba, but since there has been many discussions around this use of Fuse on OpenBSD and stuff like that, I think is very suit this video's theme to actually talk about it briefly. So there is a Fuse package, there is a SSHFS package on OpenBSD, but I can say that Fuse is not very well integrated on OpenBSD. I couldn't get it work with a normal user. That is how it's supposed to work. I had to actually switch to root user, which defeats the entire purpose of using Fuse, because it's supposed to actually worked with the normal user. Then I don't need to switch to root to, let's say, if I want to mount a remote partition or directory. However, if you manage to get it work with the normal user under OpenBSD, please write it down in the comment section below so I can also learn something from you and also give a reference or provide how you manage to do it. That's very valuable to me. The last option, which is the best option, is gvfs. So this gvfs is pretty simple to get it up and running, and also it gives you a bunch of additional benefits such as network discoverability, trash can, and phone mounts. But it has one drawback, which is a very small drawback, and that is you need to have a graphical user interface file manager to be able to actually access to this gvfs stuff. Based on my knowledge and my research, none of the console-based file manager such as Ranger works with gvfs, and this is not the problem of the gvfs itself. This is actually the problem of the file managers. There is also an unsupported option, which is CIFS. This CIFS is very powerful and popular on Linux. It's the same thing that, let's say, you can mount your Samba shares with the FS tab. This one also, unfortunately, is not ported on OpenBSD yet. It's both CIFS and CIFS util, which basically CIFS is a part of it. It hasn't been ported to OpenBSD yet, and there's no timeline or when it's going to be mounted. When it's going to be ported. It depends on who is going to need it. And lastly, we have a deprecated option, which many documentations, old documentations are referring to it, and that is Charity Light. This one was a relatively decent option until they have removed it because it had a bunch of security loopholes and security bugs in it. So let's now switch to the second part of this video, and that is about how to set up this gvfs to mount Samba shares. Before that, let me quickly show you what I mean by this gvfs stuff so you have a better picture on what we are going to do. So this is my graphical user interface file manager. It's called PCManFM, very lightweight, very small. And if I go to the network tab here, which starts with network : this is all the devices on my network. As you can see, this is my Raspberry Pi is acting as a Samba server, and if I go here I can access to my Samba shares here, and as you can see even I have mounted one of the shares, but unfortunately I cannot show it to you because it has personal information. So this is what we mean by basically mounting a Samba share, and this part is a network discoverability part, which is actually combination of using gvfs plus Avahi. I talk about Avahi later on. So this is the trash can path. As you can see, it's similar to the network path, trash : This is also provided by the gvfs. Now if I mount, let's say, if I connect, let's say, my phone to this computer, it will be also mounted automatically without accessing to the root user, because this is the facility that gvfs provides. Mounting stuff, whether it's a phone uses MTP protocol or Samba or things like that, without switching to the root user, and that's the entire purpose of gvfs. Alright, so let's move to the installation part. So first of all, we need to install a bunch of packages. Do as pkg add gvfs, smb, dbus, and Avahi. So we need dbus as a prerequisite of the gvfs because gvfs processes, they communicate through dbus. Dbus simply is a messaging bus that actually used for intercommunication between applications or processes. Let's say I have a Firefox running in one tab, and then I have MPV in another monitor, or actually in the same monitor, doesn't matter. And if I want actually to pass messages from Firefox to MPV constantly, then that can be done through dbus. Avahi is a network discoverability tool, is an implementation of the zeroconf protocol, and that's what it gives you the access to see the other devices on the network, and also your computer would be part of the network and will be actually discoverable by the other computers or devices on the network. The second step is actually to enable bunch of daemons. So do as rcctl enable multicast. Multicast should be enabled by default just to make sure. We enable it again. Message bus, which is related to dbus, and Avahi daemon. Once you enabled all this stuff and followed the last step, which requires a restart, after the restart you can just check to make sure these daemons have been enabled. So ls on, and then it gives you all these enables daemons. The last part is actually to edit either your Xsession files or xinitrc file, depends on which one you use to launch your GUI, whether it's a window manager or a desktop environment. I use Xsession and I need to edit that one then. So usually the last line of your Xsession looks like something like this: exec i3 or exec whatever. You need to actually add this prefix to it: dbus launch exit with session sh syntax, right? So this is necessary, otherwise your dbus won't be launched, even though that you have all these gvfs daemons running and they look happy and functioning. But since you don't have this dbus working, then you will get an error like this if you, let's say, try to access to the network tab. And this become a nightmare to troubleshoot, because as I said, all the gvfs process, they look fine, but since there is no dbus, they cannot communicate with each other. So make sure to add this line. This one is very crucial, otherwise nothing will work, even though that all the previous configurations, all the previous steps, you have done it correctly. But if you are using a full-fledged desktop environment such as Mate or Genome, then you don't need to add this line. because those full-fledged desktop environment, they're supposed to launch dbus by themselves, so you don't need to add them. So that's all for this video. As always, make sure to press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a great time. Cheers.